Good afternoon. Welcome to Grade 12 English First Additional Language. We are now done with the language section of our lessons and we start with the transactional writing. Transactional writing is included in your paper 3 of your exam papers and is very important because, as you all know, the paper 3 counts 100 marks. Now, the length of your transactional writing, the longer transactional, is 120 to 150 words. 4 questions will be given, 1 from each category, and the learner must choose 1, and this will count 30 marks. Now, if we look at the categories, we have category A, a friendly or a formal letter. And these letters can be of request, application, sympathy, congratulations, gratitude to a business or to the press. Your category B is a curriculum vitae and a covering letter. The covering letter is the same as a letter of application, and then the obituary, which they love to ask. Category C is a report, a formal or informal report, a newspaper or a magazine article, a book or a film review, and an agenda or minutes of a meeting. Category D is a dialogue or a written interview and a written speech, which can be formal or informal. If we have a look at category A, our informal and formal letters. First of all, the informal letter. Now, when you write an informal letter, you have to keep in mind your audience, your purpose for writing the letter, the format of the letter, and the content. Now, the purpose for writing the letter can be either to keep in touch, or to share information, or to inquire about things of mutual interest, or to sympathize, thank, congratulate, or apologize. Now, logically, if you think about it, an informal letter is much easier than a formal letter. So if you have the option, always rather do the informal letter than the formal letter. There is less room for error. If we have a look at the format of our informal letter, first of all, your own address is always at the top right-hand corner. And there's a certain format in which it has to be written. The number of the street always comes first. It's 8 Serengeti Street. So the number is first, then the name, then the word street. And take note, the word street is with a capital letter. It's with a capital letter. Take further note, there's no full stop after the word street. Then after that you have the suburb, and then you have the town, and then you have the code. The date directly underneath that must be written out in full. One tip, use the name of the month April. It's the same in English and in Afrikaans, so you can't make a mistake. The next line on the left-hand side is the salutation, Dear Uncle Billy. Now, this salutation must suit the relationship with the recipient. In other words, it will depend, your salutation will depend on who you are writing to. It can either be Dear Uncle Billy, Dear Mom, Dear Mary, Dear Mr. and Mrs. Chabalala, whatever the case might be. In your first paragraph of your friendly or informal letter, you let the reader know what your letter is going to be about, short and sweet. In the second paragraph, you are going to elaborate on those details and give more details on that. And then in your last paragraph, you will put the conclusion. Please look at the ending. Yours sincerely, Bongani. Now, the degree of formality is determined by the relationship with the recipient. You can either end like you see on the screen, yours sincerely, Bongani, or you can end with love, Linda, or kind regards, Peter. So what are we looking for when we are marking this informal letter? The following aspects of format must be included. The address of the sender. Now the sender is you. It's top right-hand corner. The date directly underneath the code written out in full. Next line on the left-hand side, the greeting or the salutation, Dear John. And then a suitable ending depending on your relationship with the recipient. The tone and the register of the letter should be friendly and informal. The content must suit the topic. Make very sure about your topic. For instance, if you have to express your gratitude or express sympathy for something that has happened. This is an example of a informal letter. Let's have a look at it from the beginning. First of all, on the top right-hand side, your own address. Take note, the street number comes first. Van Riebeek Street with a capital letter S, no full stop. Bailey Park, Potchefstroom 2531. Still no full stop after that. The date written out in full. Next line, on the left-hand side, your salutation, Dear Mr. and Mrs. Chabalala. First paragraph, where we're going to let the reader know what the letter is about. I enjoyed the trip to Cape Town so much. What an experience it was. Thank you so much for inviting me to go with you on holiday. Next paragraph. Please take note, your body cannot only consist of one long paragraph divided into 2 or 3 paragraphs. Right, in the second one, you are going to elaborate on the details. We did so many exciting things and saw so many new places that I'm not sure which day was the best. I will never forget, and then you elaborate on that. The next paragraph, in 2 days' time, we start school again. I'm looking forward to being with my friends once more and finding out who my teachers will be. However, I'm not looking forward to all the hard work that lies ahead this year. At least I will have a wonderful holiday to remember. Line open your ending, love, Mpumi. Take note, there's no full stop in your ending as well. So a breakdown of your friendly letter, remembering paragraph 1, let the reader know what your letter is about. Paragraph 2 and 3, give more details, elaborate on this. And then in paragraph 4, a suitable conclusion. The do's of a friendly letter. Your tone and register is determined by your relationship with the reader. Your tone will be different when you write to your best friend as your tone will be when you write to your neighbor to apologize for something that has happened. Use at least 4 different punctuation marks. In this letter you will see there was a comma and an exclamation mark, etc., etc. Vary the length of your sentences. End your letter with give my regards, not send my regards. And then just for information, if you have hurt someone's feelings, try to make amends. Suggest something interesting to do or say something to make the person feel special. Then very important, the don'ts. Don't write the street name first. Edgar Street 453 is incorrect. Remember, it must be 453 Edgar Street, capital letter, no full stop after the word street. Don't start your letter with, I'm writing this letter because. please be a bit more creative, not starting it with I'm writing this letter. You never start your letter with hello, how are you? I am fine. It is a letter you are writing. It's not a phone conversation. Don't start with best John. It's always dear John. Remember, no full stop in your address, salutation, or ending. Don't start your letter with an apology for delay in writing. I'm so sorry that I have not written in such a long time. Don't use ridiculous names or addresses. This is transactional writing, not creative writing. Don't swear, be rude, or use slang. Even though this is an informal letter, it is still formal writing. If we move over to the writing of formal letters, you have to keep in mind your audience, who are you writing to, the purpose for writing the letter, the type of letter, the format of the letter, which is very important, and then the content. Now, the different formal letters include the following: the letter to the press, a newspaper or a magazine, a formal complaint, a letter of application, a formal request for information, formally sympathize with someone at a company, and thanking a company, for example, for good service or a bursary or whatever. What are we looking for when we are marking your formal letter? We are checking that you use the correct format. Your letter should be addressed to a specific person, whether it be the manager or the personnel manager or the editor. The tone and the registers should be formal. This is a formal letter. It's not writing to a friend or somebody you know. This letter should have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. The following aspects of format must be included. If this is not included, you are going to lose a lot of marks. First of all, the address of the sender. We are going to see on the next slide exactly where everything must be. Just after the address of the sender is the date. Then it's the recipient's title. Recipient is the person who is receiving the letter. You are the sender. The address of the recipient. Then a greeting and a salutation. A suitable subject line. In other words, you are going to write like a heading what your letter is about. A suitable ending, a signature, and the name of the sender. You must give details concerning the topic asked. Make very sure what the topic of your letter is. Right, we are working now with an example of a letter to the editor. First of all, your own address and the date. Again, the top right-hand corner. Exactly like the informal letter. It's the number first, the name, and the word street written with a capital letter, no full stop. The suburb, the town, the code, the date written in full, nowhere full stops behind that. Then we move over to the left-hand side. And this is the address of the recipient. The first line is the specific person who will deal with the matter. So this indicates the position in the company that this person holds, so that they know this is a big company and they have to know who must pay attention, who must read this letter. So it must be addressed to a specific person. Then the rest of your address is the newspaper's name and the full address. Again, no punctuation, no full stops at the end of these lines. Then we move over to your salutation, dear sir/madam, or if you know the name of the person, you can say dear Mr. Edwards. Take note, no full stop there, and Mr. Also, the abbreviation MR does not get a full stop because the rule says if the word and the abbreviation ends on the same letter, there's no full stop after the abbreviation. A tip for you, if the word and the abbreviation ends on the same letter, so it's Mr. with a R and MR is the abbreviation, no full stop, the N on the same letter. So you only use Mr. Edwards if you know who the person is who you are writing. Otherwise, you write Dear Sir / Madam, no full stop. We move over, line open, next line. Electricity and water disruptions. Now this we call our topic line or the subject headline. It may be written in two ways. The first one, as it is written here, is in lowercase and underlined. It can also be written in capital letters, no underlining. Then, your first paragraph, you will state your problem. Why are you writing this letter again? So in your paragraph 1, you state your problem or the concern why you are writing this letter. Then in the second paragraph, you will provide more detail of this problem or this issue that you are addressing. And then in the last paragraph, you suggest a possible solution. Your ending is very important. It's different than in an informal letter. It's a formal ending with your signature and your name. So you end with yours faithfully, then make your signature, and then your initial and your surname written in full. Again, see there's no punctuation marks in your ending as well. Please remember to always write down your word count. Remember, this is 120 to 150 words. Please don't exceed the word count. Right, no punctuation marks as I have said. So the letter to the editor, the breakdown, remember in paragraph 1, you state the problem or the concern, in other words, the reason for your letter. In paragraph 2, you provide more detail. And then in paragraph 3, you suggest a possible solution. Letter of application. Now, a letter of application and a covering letter for a CV is the same thing. This is where you sell yourself to the possible boss or your possible employer, because this is the first thing he's going to see about you is the letter of application. So the format here is extremely important. Again, top right hand corner is your own address and the date. Again, the number of the street comes first. Mountain Road, capital letters there, no full stop. Suburb, no full stop. Pretoria, no full stop. Code, no full stop. Date written out in full, no full stop. Remember, to avoid mistakes, use the date, April. Next line on the left-hand side. Very important, the name of the position of the person at the company that will deal with new job applications. In this case, the personnel manager. After that, the name of the company or the firm that you are applying at and their full address. It's very important that you write the name of the position of the person at the company down, otherwise they will not know where this letter must go. It's a big company, they receive a lot of mail, you must be specific. See no punctuation marks, no full stops at the end, line open, your salutation again, dear sir/madam, line open, in capital letters, not underlined, application for vacant post of hardware sales consultant. Now your topic line or your subject headline is usually the post that you have to apply for as given in the paper, so that they can see immediately what this letter is about. And then paragraph 1. In paragraph 1 it says, I, Pieter Nagel, would like to apply for the above mentioned post as advertised in the Pretoria News of 20 January 2019. Now, so in paragraph 1, as you can say, you say who you are and where did you see the advertisement. Paragraph 2, I am 21 years old. I completed a 6-month diploma in sales, management and word processing at Maxim College in July. So in the second paragraph, you give details of your qualifications. I matriculated in 2015 and have since worked as a sales assistant at Armco Industries. I have consistently provided above average customer service and exceeded the sales goals set for me. I would welcome the opportunity to provide the same level of service and professionalism to your company. So in paragraph 3, you tell the employer about your work experiences and you convince him why you should be appointed. In paragraph 4, you tell him about your enclosed certified copies of certificates and testimonials. I have attached copies of the relevant certificates to this letter, and I have also attached the testimonial from my current employer. The next paragraph, you inform him of the date when you can start as well as your contact details. So I am available for an interview at any time convenient to you and can be contacted at telephone number blah blah blah, and I will be available to start immediately. I look forward to your favorable response, and again your formal ending with your signature and your name with no punctuation marks. If we have a look at category B, your covering letter, it usually accompanies a detailed CV. The format is the same as the letter of application. Right, so a covering letter go into detail about how you're going to meet the needs of the company. It should also explain why your skills, achievements and personality are a good fit. The best cover letter to do the following. It introduces you to the hiring manager. It explains why you're applying for the job, how you are right for the job. It gives you a place to explain things like the reasons for gaps in your job history or reasons for changing your career. The tip, include the hiring manager's name instead of just saying dear sir, if you know the name. Let's have a look again at this example. Remember, own address, top right hand corner, the number of the street, the name, the word street, no full stop. The suburb, no full stop. The city, no full stop. The code, no full stop. Date written out in full, no full stop. Next line, left hand side, the name of the person specifically to whom this letter is addressed, the manager, the name of the company, the full address and the code, no full stops. Line open, salutation, dear sir/madam. Line open, your topic or your subject headline, capital letters, the post that you are applying for, application for post of sales representative. Paragraph 1. Who you are and where did you see the advertisement. In response to your advertisement of 7 February, I would like to apply for the position of sales representative of your company. Paragraph 2, details of your qualification. I am 22 years of age, and after finishing school, I completed a 2-year diploma in marketing at Centurion Academy. I've gained valuable experience over the past 4 years. For the past 2 years, I've been working as a sales representative at Voila, a small company that distributes hair care products. You will see he combined here his qualifications and his work experience. And then in this paragraph, he is telling the employer why he should be appointed. So he's actually selling himself. I'm applying for this job because I like working with people and am ready to accept the challenge of working at a successful company like yours. I am honest, hardworking, and positive, and I love to travel. I believe I can make a valuable contribution to your company. Next paragraph is about the enclosed certified copies of certificates and testimonials. So enclosed are certified copies of my certificates, a CV, and recent testimonials of my previous and current employers. Next paragraph is the date when you are available, when you can start working, and your contact details. If my application is successful, I could start working on 1 December, my cell phone number, blah, blah, blah. I look forward to your favorable response to this application. And remember your formal ending, yours faithfully, signature, and then your initial and surname. So let's look at the breakdown of a letter of application. Paragraph 1, who you are and where you saw the advertisement for the job. Paragraph 2, the details of your qualifications. Paragraph 3, your work experience and why you should be appointed. Paragraph 4, enclosed certified copies of certificates and testimonials. And paragraph 5, the date when you can start, and then your contact details. Right, we move over to the obituary. Kindly remember, if you have the choice between a friendly letter and a formal letter, rather choose to write the friendly letter. There are less room for mistakes. Now the obituary. Now there's a difference between a funeral notice, a eulogy, and an obituary. A funeral notice is a paid announcement in a newspaper about a person's death and only gives funeral arrangements. A eulogy is a speech or a piece of writing in which you praise someone, usually at a funeral. Now this is where you get confused, because in Afrikaans, in your writing paper, you do a huldeblyk, and that is the same as a eulogy. So don't get confused between a eulogy and an obituary. Part of the obituary is a small eulogy where you say something personal about the person who has passed away. But do not write a eulogy if you are asked to write an obituary. Now, an obituary is the notice of the passing on of someone known by the target audience and is done in a newspaper. The obituary also includes information about the person's life and the funeral arrangements. Let's have a look at this example. John Q. Public, there's the date of birth and the date of death, and it reads, John Q. Public, the great-great-grandson of Oregon pioneer Joe Public, died on July 12th at his home in Lake Oswego, a resident of the Lake Oswego area since 1947. Mr. Public was born on November 29, 1918 to William Public and Sally Ann Public. After a brief residence in San Francisco, the Public family moved to Portland, where Mr. Public's father established public broadcasting, which operated on Sandy Boulevard from 1926 to 1989. No one who met John Q. Public forget his infectious passion for his non-work activities, alpine skiing, jazz music, Northwest history, and golf. During his long residence in Lake Oswego, Mr. Public participated in local activities, including serving as an assistant scoutmaster for the local Boy Scout troop. In 1941, he married Betty Smith, a legal secretary who had moved with her family to Portland from Bandon. They had 3 children, Fred, Albert, and Susie. This is just a common example of an obituary. What are we looking for when we mark your obituary? The aspects below must be included. The full name of the deceased, the person who has died, the date of birth, the date of death, where the person was living at time of death, his birthplace, the key survivors and their names, the time, date, and place of the funeral, and a tribute must be paid. And the following may be included: the cause of death and some biographical information. The style and tone is formal, concise, and please use euphemisms. He passed away instead of he died. So as we said, the full name and surname must be given. It's part of your heading. So the full name and surname must be given. Just below that is the year of birth and the year of death. In the first paragraph, the name and surname of the deceased, the age, passed away on which date and place, and then the cause of death. Next paragraph, he was born in which town, he was the son and daughter of his parents, he or she attended which school, graduated at which university, was employed at place of work, and worked as a job title. She was a member of church organizations, group committees, etc. That is the involvement in the community. And then personal, he enjoyed the hobbies and activities. And then you pay a tribute. And then he or she is survived by his wife or husband, children, grandchildren. Be very careful to determine this. All right. And then the funeral service will be held on the date, the time, the place, and the address. He or she will be remembered for whatever you want to say there. So, let's have a look at the example. The topic: you are working for a community newspaper. A popular businessman whom you knew very well has died. Write his obituary for publication in your local newspaper. Comment on his life, his contribution to the community, and who he leaves behind. Also refer to the details of his or her funeral. Now, we are going to break down this obituary. In your heading, you have to write the full name, surname, date of birth, and date of death. So, the breakdown in your heading, you write down his full name, surname, date of birth, and date of death. So it's Thomas Ryan Mayer, 1974 to 2018. The first paragraph: Thomas Ryan Mayer, age 44, a wealthy and successful businessman, passed away in Pretoria on 9 November 2018, suffering from a serious illness. So in paragraph 1, it's a notice of his passing, the date and the cause. And remember, if you mention the cause of death, make use of a euphemism. That is paragraph 1. Paragraph 2, born in Pretoria, he was the son of Peter and Mary Meyer. He attended school at Clapham High and graduated at the University of Pretoria. Thomas has made many contributions to the community, such as funding local orphanages as well as local animal rescue centers. He was diligently involved in community feeding schemes as well as community donations. So in paragraph 3, you mention his parents, where did he go to school, which university did he attend, his current job, and then other involvement in the community. That is paragraph 2. And in paragraph 3, Thomas was a kind and considerate man who was always humble and willing to help with the most mundane tasks. He never allowed his money to corrupt his morals. So in other words, paragraph 3 is personal information. So that is a very small version of a eulogy. And then the last paragraph, Thomas leaves his wife Emma and 8-year-old daughter behind. A memorial service will be held at NG Church, Wonderboom 213, Rosemary Avenue, Anlin, Pretoria at 10 o'clock on 15 November. Look at the full address, the time and the date, very important. And then you may add messages of condolences and any form of support may be sent, etc., etc. So in your last paragraph, you mention who is left behind and the full details of the church or memorial service, paragraph 4. So let's just quickly look at the breakdown. Number 1, in the heading, the full name and surname, date of birth and date of death. Paragraph 1, the notice of passing, the date and the cause. Remember to make use of euphemism. In paragraph 2, you talk about the deceased parents, where he went to school, which university he attended, the job, and other involvement in the community. Paragraph 3 is personal details, and paragraph 4, who's left behind, and details of the church and memorial services. That concludes our lesson for today. Please pay careful attention to the format of everything that we did today. If you make a mistake with the format, you lose a whole lot of marks. So please be very careful. I gave you a breakdown for each of the transactional pieces that we did. You have to study for all of these. You have to know off by heart what must be in there and in which order it must be written. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Make wise choices. Goodbye.